My name is Elliot Renfield, and I am 29 years old. I live in a small town called Riverbend City. I have spent most of my life feeling like a ghost that nobody noticed. I always felt invisible in a crowd, and like most people, I craved connection and understanding. I spent my days working at a dull office job, surrounded by the constant hum of chatter, but rarely having someone to share my life with. My friends were distant, and my dating history was a collection of unfortunate encounters that left me doubting myself. Then one day, everything changed when I met Sam. Sam was charming, like a movie star who stepped right out of my dreams. He listened to everything I had to say, and we seemed to have so much in common that it felt like fate had played its hand. He took me out on incredible dates, going as far as renting a boat to visit an uninhabited island where he surprised me with a homemade lunch. He showered me with affection and lavish compliments that made me believe I finally found someone who truly saw me. I opened up to him completely, foolishly sharing my insecurities, my past, everything. For the first time I felt alive, but you know what they say, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Slowly, the bright light that Sam had brought into my life began to dim. It started with little things. He would make offhand comments about my appearance, things I would shrug off at first. Then he would flirt with other women in my presence, a tactic he used to make me feel insecure. Each time I saw him chatting up another girl, I would tear up and he would quickly apologize, returning to his charming self just long enough for me to let my guard down again. I became trapped in a cycle of seeking his approval, desperately trying to remind him of how much I loved him and how special we were together. I was worn out, emotionally drained, and desperate. One day I caught him browsing an online dating site. He had thought it funny to let me see him doing this, claiming he wanted to see if I would react. His childishness and arrogance both enthralled and angered me. Deep down, I felt the storm brewing, and when I thought things could not get worse, they did. I remembered when he had asked me for help setting up an online account for playing chess. He had struggled, and in my frustration to help him, I had memorized his username and password. That now came in handy in the worst possible way. After taking a deep breath, I logged onto that dating site, entering his details like a thief creeping into someone's home. What I found shattered me. His profile was brimming with women. As I scrolled through, I was sickened to the core. The conversations detailed his betrayal, and he had shared intimate secrets about our relationship, discussing his distaste for my every flaw. I cried like a baby until my chest felt hollow, but something snapped inside me that day. I had grieved enough. I would not continue to be a victim. I set my plan into action. I created a fake dating profile, feigning interest, and started chatting with him. I played him like a puppet, twisting my words carefully until he suggested we meet. With desperate pretenses, I agreed, half hoping he would not show. I sat in a crowded coffee house, wearing part of a disguise, and waited with anticipation churning in my stomach. When 10 minutes before our date, I called to check on him, I felt hope dashed when he claimed he had an errand to run. I kept my eyes glued to the door, praying for escape, but alas, in walked Sam. He sat there fidgeting like a boy waiting for a date while I watched with satisfaction lingering in my heart. A woman walked through the door who looked a lot like my created persona. He jumped up and approached her, trying so hard to strike up a conversation. Throughout it, I clung to my spot, heart racing as he was rejected. I could feel the anticipation electrifying the air. After half an hour, he left, and I took that moment to send him a message on the dating site. "It was me," I typed with a smirk. "I found you unattractive, but I pretended not to, sorry." I could only imagine the way his face twisted when he read those words, but I was just getting started. I did this to him time and time again. He would go on numerous dates that never amounted to anything, standing alone time after time. I lost count after the 10th time I strung him along, watching him make a fool of himself. I relished in seeing him thrown off balance, each failed encounter my small victory. Eventually, I decided I would end things with him. I invited him for coffee, laying the truth down with no sugarcoating. "I am done," I said, the steel in my voice echoing off the walls. "You are a cheating son of a gun." He turned pale. He tried to deny it, tried to spin the tables on me and say I was the jealous one, but I just looked at him and said, "All those failed dates, all me." The shock on his face was priceless. I could see him processing the information, realizing that I had been the puppet master all along. "Your password, I have it," I said with a triumphant flair, leaving him sitting there as I walked away with the lightness of a weight lifted off my chest. A few months later, I received a lengthy email, filled with poetic language, claiming I was the love of his life and how my actions broke him and confused him. I never responded to any of his messages, and even today he continues reaching out, desperate to rekindle something. I have left that chapter behind, unbothered by the past. I emerged from that darkness with strength I never knew I had. In its wake, I found my own self-worth. I realized the only love I needed was for myself, and Sam was not my destiny, but rather a lesson in disguise. And so I walk through life in Riverbend City no longer as a ghost, but as a man who knows his worth, unafraid to let others see me, shedding the shadows and embracing the power of my own story.